hello. Welcome to the Simply Together show. It is the 7th of April and it's sunny. It's sunny. It's warm. I've been in the garden and that was okay. And Shelley's been out and she's only got a long sleeve t-shirt. So all is good. Until Friday, I think they've said.
That's a possibility of when it changes. Yes.
So Friday we'll get all 4 seasons in one day, most probably. Again. But for today, it's nice. So if you want some days hanging out, you're washing, get them out now. Because Friday, you're not going to be able to do that. So I hope everybody has enjoyed their Easter and eaten their body weight in chocolate, because that's apparently what you're supposed to do. Or you go down the religious route and you celebrate through going to church, etc. All is welcome. Okay?
Or you can combine and do both.
Do both. After Lent, eat as much chocolate as you want and celebrate the Lord. That's all I know.
And for any pagans, for any pagans which because anything out there, then yes, it is spring. It is spring.
It's interesting because we had a conversation at the dinner table on Good Friday about what the Stations of the Cross are. So if you're Catholic, you would definitely know what that is.
And Church of England.
Of England. Any other religions, I'm not so sure. But it was very interesting because I am not Catholic, but my children were brought up as Catholic. And I know what they are. But my brother didn't know what we were talking about in the slightest. Very good conversation. Very good. Anyway, how are you doing, Shelley?
I'm good. Recovered from being down at Mum's and then coming back home here for Easter weekend. And it's been nice for a walk this morning. Building up TJ's leg. And it's a nice breeze and everything. So, met a few different doggies on the field, which was good.
Did you eat your body weight in chocolate?
I didn't get any Easter eggs. I bought myself flowers and I bought myself my own egg.
You bought herself flowers. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I bought myself chocolate just in case. Case. I know. How's that? Nike, how are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Easter was really good. Yes, I did have the Stations of the Cross in my Lent journal. Did I read it? That is the question. So I'm looking at it here. I did kind of know some of it, but not all of it, And so that's good. And no, I haven't eaten my body weight in chocolate after Lent either, although I do have 2 Oreo cream eggs waiting for me. So I'm very excited.
These people who brag about the chocolate that they've got.
Excuse me, you just sat there and said that you bought yourself chocolate.
I did. But I didn't buy Oreos. Is that a small cream egg? Oreo cream egg?
It's a small cream egg. They're 2 small ones. It was given to me by a friend, actually for a belated birthday present. But my ode is to the fact that I actually do not like the original cream eggs. I cannot stand them. I think they're the most vile creation ever. But I do like
too strong.
Ones.
That's quite strong. Quite a lot of people don't actually realise what's in the middle of a cream egg.
Well, the creamy bit.
I just don't like
the taste of it. What's the creamy bit made of?
What is it made of?
I thought it was made of rice and sugar.
Hang on, is this going to upset me?
No, you know the fondant that you get on birthday cakes?
Yes.
Rolled up fondant. It's that.
Yeah, I know that.
More liquid. Yeah. So it's just pure sugar and glucose.
Yes.
Which is why I don't like it. I just said that. I guessed that. I said I think it's made of ice and sugar. But I just don't like it. I don't like how it tastes. There's something in it that just really gets me up. Yeah.
But vile is the harsh word for a cream egg. Vile. You dislike it, yes, but vile.
Some people say Marmite is vile.
No,
yeah.
I just don't like Marmite. But I wouldn't say it's vile because other people might do it. Ditting the cream egg like
I'm
that.
sorry. Did I offend you? That
Yes,
was
you
not my
have.
intention. And I take full responsibility for my poor choice of words.
So when are you going to eat this Oreos cream egg?
This afternoon.
So, but okay.
Or maybe tomorrow, actually.
Do you know what's in the centre of that then?
It's Oreos biscuits.
Yeah, but there's got to be some creamy bit in there, hasn't it, or not?
Yeah, but it's not.
The cream
Okay, right. There's a difference, right? Even if you have a cake that has got the fondant that Shelley described on it, you are going to have cake, and then you're going to have fondant, right? You're having the fondant with the cake. You're not having the cake.
Even
with
when
the
she's
fondant.
talking about it, she's angry about it.
I just don't like, to be sincere, I just don't like it. Okay, all right. Vile was a bit of an extreme choice of words because if I was hungry and there was nothing else to eat, I would probably eat that. But I would not eat a runny egg. I would. So yeah.
Okay.
So vile was probably an extreme.
So when you eat it, can you let us know whether it's just Oreo or whether there's fondant in there as well as the Oreo?
It's a little bit of fondant and Oreo. I've had one before.
Okay.
You know, an Oreo cookie is got the white cream
Yeah.
on the inside.
Yeah.
It's filled with the white cream with some of the biscuits. It's the opposite way round.
Okay. Maybe not as sweet as a proper cream egg.
I think the problem, to be very sincere with you, I think the issue with the original cream egg for me is that thing, you just get that burst. It's not the type of thing you want a burst of. So that's all, really and truly. But no, I don't like it. But other than that, Easter has been absolutely fabulous. I've enjoyed the weather. I've enjoyed the food, the fish, the lamb, all of it. It's been very good. So
caramel.
The caramel one.
So the caramel that's in the ordinary caramel, that's what's in the centre of that.
That's what's in there. Yeah. I got was the 8-pack. So you got 4 cream eggs and 4 caramels.
Oh, right, yeah, so you got caramel. There's a Biscoff one as well.
And there was a Biscoff one, yeah.
Yeah, the Biscoff one is quite nice.
And someone did say, but I couldn't see it anywhere, was a chocolate orange one filling.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. I think I saw it as the ones. But again, I'm not a fan of chocolate orange. I do not understand the combination of chocolate and orange. It is a very confusing thing for me. I do not like it.
It's a very well-known combination.
100%. Terry's chocolate orange. I used to love the adverts for them.
No, that's not mine
not
either.
Terry's, they're mine.
Oh my Lord.
So
talking about, can I just go back adverts where I've just said the one line of an advert that was from the 80s? I did it again when I was shopping at the weekend, and it was because they brought out cans of Orangina. Now, if you go back to originally, Orangina used to be the glass bottle with a little spout at the top,
with the
and it was
bottom thing.
Shake the bottle, wake the drink. And I just came out with the line straight away. I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but I can remember one line of advert.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah, that's life. That is life all over, isn't it? You can't remember what you did yesterday, but you can remember something from 30 years ago. Yeah. It's very entertaining, isn't it?
Yeah.
So my Easter was fish on Friday, cooked up a storm as I normally do. 5 different lots of fish.
Lord have mercy. What were the 5 fishes? I want to know.
Yeah, I was about to say, what were the 5 different lots?
We had snapper, trevally, saltfish, sea bass, and prawns.
Oh wow! I've never had.
Yeah. I start cooking at stupid o'clock, but when I start cooking, I then get to watch King of Kings on the TV as I watch every single year. I could tell you exactly what goes on in that film. I watch that every single year. So we did that. My brother come down from Ellesmere Port. So that was lovely. And then on the Saturday, me and my brother went to Camden for the day.
Oh yeah, saw that.
And I had one of my lovely Italian buns. Shelley, you need to learn how to make them.
Yeah,
you need to learn how to make them.
You needed to take that picture a couple of different angles, because that just, yeah.
I've got many on my phone. Don't you worry, because that's not the only shop. There's a shop in Covent Garden that sell them as well. I've got different angles. Don't you worry. Anyway, so we did that. Walked. Then we came home and then went out. We went to the new place in town called Mason's, and we was only going to go for a couple of hours, and we left there at 2:00 in the morning. And by the time I went home and did all the things I needed to do, because I hadn't even got my bed, had a whole load of crap on it because I was only going out for a little while. 4:00 I went to bed.
Oh my
4:00 in the morning, and I am. My 60-year-old body is still telling me today that you're tired. I've been eating Toblerone.
Oh my God, that is akin to what Shelley has just said now, you see. The thing is, your body's forgotten. It's gone back to like 30 years.
I know. Toblerone.
Toblerone is lovely.
Hello, Norma. How are you doing? Have you eaten your body weight in chocolate? Did you have a lovely Easter? So today we are going to have a discussion about the junior doctors strike, or are they called resident doctors now? They were junior doctors, they're now resident doctors, or vice versa. Can't remember. We're going to have a conversation about them because I was watching. I didn't watch the GMTV.
I always say that.
I still haven't put that back on. That's okay. However, what I did put on was this morning. Is that what it's? Yeah, this morning. And Janet Street Porter was on there.
Oh, Jesus.
And Nick, I didn't even know this was the guy's name, Nick Ferrari from LBC.
Ferrara,
yeah.
Oh my God. And they were talking about it. And obviously, you know, Janet Street Porter. She's so Larry. I do like her. She is Larry. You know, she just says it how it is and she doesn't care. Norma's had a very quiet Easter. No chocolate. Oh. We'll get you some. Give us your address and we'll send it to you. Privately give us your address. Don't put it on here. We don't know who's watching. So, the junior doctors. Let me just read out a few bits. So, the strike started today, and I think it's for 6 days. So, in the last 2 years, they have been on strike for 60 days. Today is the 60th day. They were given a 28.9% rise over 3 years. So it wasn't a straight 28.9%. It's been shared over the 3 years. And what they would like is another 26% over another period of years. Before Christmas, there was some kind of survey. 95% of hospitals have said that they run better without the junior doctors because, and one of the reasons they gave was that a junior doctor can recommend a discharge, but it's the consultant that then has to say yay or nay. So you cut out
the middleman.
Yeah, and you can go straight to the consultant. However, we need the junior doctors because they're the ones that are going to become the consultants. And we need more consultants. And obviously those consultants are going to leave at some point, whether they retire or whatever. So we do need the junior doctors coming in because I don't think you can go straight from a qualified doctor to a consultant.
No.
You've got to do that in between, haven't you?
Yes. So is this like only about money then, Cecile?
Right, so they're saying, people are saying it's only about money, but Jeremy Vine, because I watched a bit of him as well today, and I'm not watching them again next week. That's it. That's my lot done. Yes, look. How junior doctors supposed to learn if we don't have them? So Jeremy Vine says it is more complicated. It's not just about the money, it's about all of it. So it's about the money, it's about learning, it's about whether doctors, the junior doctors, even have the respect within the NHS. Everybody else has got a specific role, haven't they? So you go in as a nurse, or you go in as this, or you go in as that. These ones go in to learn and then to progress. Have they got that same? Are they given the same respect as a junior doctor?
Oh, this is really making me mad.
Okay, and that's why I said it was good that you didn't know anything, because actually we'll get your honest view. They need the experience and guidance from the consultants. Okay, so we do need them. And they need it to learn.
Yeah, in the UK, we seem to have lost. I mean, my mum, well, anything that ever happens, she always puts it down to the fact that when they started changing it around, when you used to have matrons on the ward, for what was in place to what is in place now is very, very completely different. With as much as that you're learning on the job, and you have like your points. So how many years? It's normally how many years you go through, but it's how many points that you go through. That so you've learned that bit, learned that bit, learned that bit. So you can go up to price point 2, for instance, or your pay grades. And it seems to be that consultants will be in their top position, and they get a load of stuff piled on them. So they're not necessarily showing the younger doctors, the resident doctors, as much. But also, by the time that you've gone up to your consultancy, you can take on private work as well. So you could have a consultant that you see privately and under the NHS. Because I've known a couple of people that have gone the NHS route, or waited for the NHS route, gone privately, and it happens to be the same consultant that they were waiting for. So if the consultancy, because you drag them into so much as a consultant, where they have to go to top up their wages and stuff and go privately, that they're not got as much time as they have for the resident doctors. And the resident doctors, you do go up the pay grade, but there is a if I show you, don't know what it will actually, whether it shows my whole screen or not. Hang on. Where did the thing go? No, that's not it.
So I just still want to go back to my original question, that if it's just about money, is it that there's no structure? Because at the end of the day, across all industries, we happen to be talking about medicine at the moment. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of thinning of staff, etc., and to get that practical training. Because I don't understand how they can expect to have a 40% pay rise.
But it
doesn't make sense.
Let's have a look.
I don't know whether you can see that coming up properly. So that's how their pay scale works, going up the years.
Okay.
So you've got like your true doctor in training is your first 2 years. I think that's why that line's there, from what I can work out. And you can actually see where their pay is then increased each time for how different the colour of the blue is on top of it. Now it's bigger in years gone by, but it's smaller now, but they have actually had pay increases.
They
What do you
The
mean it's
doctors
smaller
have,
now,
the
Shelley? I
police
don't understand.
has, the doctors have, the police has, the fire service have, and that pay increase goes by, as with any jobs, goes with how much money is in the pot.
Yeah.
It goes by how well the country itself is doing, let alone your own area, if you like.
Can you see that, Nikkei, on your
No, not
screen?
properly. Not
Right.
properly.
So what she means is that those different colours where they've had pay increases, they've actually got smaller.
Oh, it's the pay increases that have got smaller.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so
Well,
last
so does everybody's.
Yeah.
I know, but I think it was last year, it might have been the year before, I can't remember, and they were literally talking about what the hourly rate was, and
Yeah,
and I was absolutely disgusted that the fact that the hourly rate that they were getting, and I can't remember, I think it was something like £13 something, and I just thought, hang on a minute, that lots of people earn more than that. You know, you can go. I don't want to use care work as an example and try and make it sound like that there isn't a value there, but that's the world that I know, and that and also within therapy as well. If you work for an organisation rather than self-employed, quite often people are only getting paid £13 or £14 an hour, but yet these people have to go and save lives, physically save lives.
It's the same as paramedics. Paramedics went through the same thing, and I know Norma's just said about the hierarchy of the nursing thing. So, you know, where I said, sort of like my mum always says, when the matron was got rid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the whole hierarchy of the nurses. I mean, like, nurses are running around and doing everything, the same as paramedics. They're picking up all the slack, and it's someone that is getting paid well, and it is reflective, and it's not like they haven't got any increase in their wages, that are the ones that are they can, like, go through this whole strike thing and be like decide to do the whole week. And it's bad enough if you've got like one day. I mean, I've just spent 2 days in Dorset Hospital with my mum for 2 different appointments, and knowing this was coming up, I was keeping an eye on what different conversations were going on and how they were doing things. And I did overhear a couple of conversations that was, oh yeah, because we can't do it that week because of this. Now, if you've got a older population that Dorset is, that they're having to think about when they're putting appointments in the systems and things, and they say that it won't make much difference, but it could very well be that they decide that an appointment for someone that's just a checkup in an older person, oh, we'll just push that back, we'll just rebook that appointment. That's not really hurting, but it could be. It could be.
Hi, Kerry. I hope you're okay. So,
right,
another thing.
I want to go back to a point that Cecile made earlier, right? Where you were talking about.
Hang on, just 1 minute. Hold on to that. Just hold on to that, because I just want to finish on what Shelley just said. So, another thing that that Janet Street Porter was saying was that what we're being told is there's been a reduction in the waiting list. So the reduction has gone down from 7.8 million to 7.2 million on the waiting list. But what all of this causes is that anxiety. You don't know if your op's going to happen on a daily basis, let alone if there's a doctor strike. So it just adds more. So if you're looking at the elderly community who are waiting to have an operation, or anybody who's waiting to have an operation, there's already that concern that it might not happen. And then if you then throw this into the mix, there's an even bigger concern that it might not happen, even though they're trying to reassure us that it will happen. and there won't be any changes. So go on then, Nico. What was you going to say?
No, I was going to say, because right, what you just described there, I think is the natural consequences of people going on strike, and that is it. But going back to the point you're making about care workers, that they get paid more. Obviously, I don't work in care, and I don't have 100% visibility of what it is, but I think of it as being quite heavy work. So because it's quite heavy work, your lifespan, your natural proper lifespan in that role is shorter. So I would expect that you'd get paid more. Whereas if you're a junior doctor, you're very clever, you've gone to university, you've done all of these things there, you've expected that there's a little bit more longevity in that role. So your pay at the beginning is not necessarily going to be that high. Of the pay increase is going to be exponential as you go longer and get more experience.
Most probably. The connection for me within the care field is actually the pay was absolutely disgusting for many years, really, really low. And they obviously then started bringing in minimum wage. So those organisations that were paying awful pay have had to then increase it. So luckily it has started to go up on a regular basis because of minimum wages. But all right, so you could choose any job you want. So off the top of my head, a cleaner, for example, their wages may be at this amount, and you may then say, okay, that's because they do this and this, and that reflects what the work that they do. But junior doctors, like I keep saying, we're expecting them to go in and, with the support of other doctors, save people's lives. And their wages, for some people, they think that doesn't reflect that.
I'm beginning to get the feeling that everybody's holding everybody to ransom. When you take it in the confines of what you and Shelley have described, right? We need the junior doctors because they're the ones who are going to become the consultants. We need the healthcare people, generally speaking, because we're human and we get sick. And at the top of this sits the government, who knows these things. They know intimately and much more in depth than any of us do. And I just feel that I agree with you that they should be paid accordingly. But by the same token, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe because I'm just hearing this 30-40%, it's just, maybe it's making me think a little bit irrationally, especially if the numbers are as low as you said, like £13-14 an hour.
Okay, so do you think they should be allowed to strike? Because the police aren't, the fire services aren't.
I think there's got to be a balance, to be honest. I can't answer that question blanketly. Personally, I think they need to be able to make a point, because otherwise you're going to drive people away from coming into the profession. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question, to be honest, but I do think they need to be able to make a point, because otherwise it becomes that is a part of that profession that becomes much more easy to exploit people.
It's again, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because that's the only that according
it does kind of go against the Hippocratic Oath. I think if that's where you're going.
Well, the oath of do no harm.
Yes.
But according to Storm Huntley, who's on Jeremy Vine, whatever, she feels that they should be allowed to strike because that's the only resource they have to get their point across. Should they, shouldn't they?
I'm all for anyone, whatever sector that you're in, that if you get to a point where you cannot progress any further with what your argument is, that you can strike. What I don't like is the fact that these strikes are being a whole week, so it's a whole chunk, and it's not like when we did have fireman strikes, but they did that, and they were saying, I'm striking, but I'm still working, and they could have a backup brought in. So everything was still covered, but we are striking, we are making a point. Whereas with the doctors, everyone else has to pick up the pieces, or we just have to put up with it. With this in particular, because this is another strike, this is what agitates me more than anything. They were offered a package. The government offered them a package, and it was covering things that people in normal life jobs wouldn't have got as part of this package, but they didn't like it and they wanted more. So this is the reason why this particular strike is then happening. So when you look, I did put the link in the BBC in our chats. When you get down to the point where it says, how did we get here? They've offered the package last month in a bid to end the dispute, although the union said that elements of it were watered down. And it was including covering out-of-pocket expenses such as exam fees. There was a faster pay progression through your 5 salary bands, which is what that thing that I showed you. And then because you do your 2 years and then you can go into speciality training posts, which is what happens to any doctors. I mean, I know this personally because my niece is training to be a doctor in South Africa, but their system is different because it's a private system and there's no NHS, so it's a private doctor system, so it's a bit different, but it's the same anyway. You go through your 2 years and then you can then say, I'm going to go down this speciality route as being a doctor. So they're offering out-of-pocket expenses and stuff for you to train in the job that you're getting paid for, and they're offering
because that training is compulsory.
Yeah, so you're going through a job. You're obviously in a lower paid job because you've not got all of your training yet, and you've not got it's in job training. So it's like if you was apprenticeship, for instance, you get a lower pay, but you're learning on the job. They're telling you what they're doing, and then you then progress up into an actual full job once you've done all your things. My husband had when he was way back then, had to pay for all of his electrician exams and stuff while he was apprentice, while he was learning.
Why?
And then
Why? Why should he? Or why should he have had to?
Yeah, but you'd like that with any job. If you go for an exam to up yourself, you pay for that exam.
No,
well, I think
not always.
Okay, can I just ask a question then? Can a junior doctor just stay a junior doctor forever?
Well, yeah, they can sit there and not then they can learn all the bits and pieces.
Can they really do that?
Well, it's a 5-point thing, and when you look at that thing that I showed you earlier, that was anything between 5 and 8 years. So it's actually showing you that you could actually just sit there and not progress further. You could progress in the 5 years, but it could take up to 8 years.
Yeah, I'm not more concerned. I was just looking at your point because I personally do feel that the exams should be paid for. Because
so do I.
Because the nature of the job, like Cecile says, we're expecting these people to keep up to date with their skills, be able to help people to save lives, etc. So I do feel that the government should pay for it.
Okay, however, so go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think the real issue is that as much as I expect the government to pay for those things, I actually do not think the government should then bear the loss when they do get qualified and they just bugger off to the private sector. And for me, that is where I take umbrage. But on all other things being equal, I'm just going to say it like that for ease, that if somebody's gone into it for the nobility of the profession and they just want to help people and stuff like that, yeah, they should pay, and the NHS should reap the rewards of that. And if that means that they need to calculate it accordingly, they need to get their actuarial sciences in there doing that job. There needs to be a limit as to, right, we've got you in, we've given you a good pay package, we've recognised that you're giving up a lot of your blah, 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 and this is what we want in return. And they should have to stay in the NHS for a substantial amount of time. otherwise go and train privately and then work in the private sector. I think for me, that is where the issue lies. It's not the actual compensation, it needs to be correct and it needs to be at the correct level. And whether we like it or not, the compensation for doctors has to be higher than for certain other professions.
Okay, right. So Norma said they shouldn't have to strike. This should be sorted without strike action. They will not want to strike. It goes against the Hippocratic Oath, which is interesting because you've already raised that. I've got a post-it note on my notice board, which I've had on there for about 2 years, and that's obviously come from either one of these shows or something else. And it says, "First, do no harm." Well,
Yeah.
If that's the Hippocratic Oath, why is it then? Does it take so long for us to get referrals, to get appointments? All of that is doing harm. That is all doing harm. But
so, yeah,
it's just that there. So that's obviously been in my head. But what I would also want to say is, with those exams, and again, it might have been the field that I've worked in. When I was working in care, anything that I was doing, even my foundation degree in care management, they paid for. I didn't pay for that. Didn't pay for the exams. The registering body.
Who was you working for?
A few different organisations.
Because the organisations paid, but
the organisation paid that.
Because you're working for the government, aren't you? So
maybe that's where the difference is. But also, I think some of the organisations pay, some of them don't, but the majority of them do, if you need that for you to be working in that field. So as the manager, the registration body said I needed that, so they paid for that. Anything I've done for myself when I'm self-employed, I've had to pay for that. So, as Kerry said, but then as many hospitals in debt, are they actually going to have the money to pay for those things? Because there's not much money out there. So,
well, this is why I put it all back on the government. You see, this is the thing. I don't want to go down any conspiracy routes or anything like that. But from a logical
I love a conspiracy from you. I do love one.
But the thing is, it is very difficult, and obviously, what I'm saying is just my opinion. But I do think the government is responsible for this. And going back, if it was Norma that said yes, they shouldn't have to strike. I think where they get around the Hippocratic Oath is that they're given notice. Because if you think about it, if you're having an argument with your employer, you're annoyed, they're not listening to you, they're not giving you what you need. The whole idea, the reason why you would go on strike ordinarily is to cause disruption. And so it would be at quite a short notice. I've got a friend of mine, she's quite often going on strike. I'm like, are you striking again? And they just call it a couple of days before. But they're not in a hospital. They're not saving lives. So it doesn't really matter. But this was, they're giving notice. Like Shelley says, she overheard, we can't do it at this time because there's going to be a strike. So they're given the opportunity to plan around it. So I think that's where they're getting around the Hippocratic Oath. But the other point that you were making about the fact that the appointments are long and stuff like that, that is causing harm in all sorts of ways. That's a resource matter.
Yeah.
And I listened to my podcast with Dr. Amir Khan.
What does he say?
Well, he did explain about, I thought I shared it with you, about how come there's so many doctors that are not in work and, we can't get these appointments and the sort of things that they have to do. Because obviously what he was saying, we make the assumption because there are no appointments that the doctors are not actually doing anything. Well, in actuality, he did break it all down and stuff like that. And they do actually need more doctors. And then also, sometimes they do get another doctor, but then where the fund is coming from, they'll say, no, this doctor's got to be ring-fenced for this and that. So it doesn't necessarily make any impacts on the day-to-day things like what you are speaking about. So it's all down to resources and where the money is coming from and where they're giving it to. That was my takeaway.
which is fine, because I don't actually presume that if there isn't an appointment or anything like that, I don't presume the doctors aren't doing anything. I just presume that there isn't enough doctors, or
Because you got sense.
there aren't enough appointments.
You
So
got,
that
yeah, I said because you've got sense. You know, it's not
sometimes
yeah,
sometimes I've got sense.
Speaking that yeah, but I presume that they are more likely to get that type of feedback. We're just going to murder about it amongst ourselves. Oh, I couldn't probably get an appointment again. Blah blah blah. There are not enough doctors, but it's just quite.
Okay.
I do agree with Norma that it is a pity that it has to come to going on strikes, but I personally put the blame solely at the government and the Treasury because they're the ones who hold the money.
So Norma said the NHS and GPs have disjointed communication.
Yeah.
That's holds a lot of things up. Again, this day and age, with all the technology, shouldn't be happening. Which again is 100%, because we've said on here before about our lovely local surgery, which we won't name, is absolutely useless. They are absolutely. I don't know who they're talking to, because they're not even talking to the GPs, let alone anything else. You know, I waited for nearly a year for an appointment, only to find they hadn't even made the referral. And because it was COVID, I just thought, oh, it's taking time because it's COVID and it is taking. No, that's because they hadn't even told them. They literally, it was in the letter. And I spoke to the hospital and they said, you need to talk to the surgery. And I got one of the lovely receptionists, and no disrespect to receptionists. I know they're given a procedure. They have to get the info out of us to give to. I understand that. But this one literally said to me, no, we've not had that. We have not had that. And I said to her, have you had letter dated? Da, 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 da. And she said, yeah. And I literally told her which line to look at. And she then said, oh, okay, we didn't do that. And I just thought, seriously. So no one's talking. They're not talking. You know, nobody's talking to each other.
Is it a case of they're not talking or they're not reading? Because you say, look at this line. So, yeah, well, I think that's a whole other podcast, actually, because I find this happens a lot. Honestly, it does happen. It happens a lot. Where
I know it does. I know.
Information there. The information is there. You only read the first paragraph. So what? Are we supposed to cut out all the introduction bits there so there's no context, and then you read the instructions and then you're confused?
There's 3 of us in this house, and each one of us in some shape or form have had issues with our local surgery. So if there's issues going on there, does that then affect the NHS in some shape or form, or does it then affect the hospitals? Because the hospitals, if they're expecting a referral and that referral doesn't come in, they then just presume that person doesn't need it.
Well, because it's a workflow, isn't it? So you've gone to the hospital, you've seen the consultant, and they've said do A, B, and C. So they will tell whoever there to do A, B, and C. Now, A, B, on your case, A, B, and C was done. Then that's it. It's gone out for that time. It's out of their system and it's gone back into the GP system, who hasn't done anything with it. They, as a hospital, do not have time to be chasing around.
No, of course they don't.
If they had other bricks that were not dependent on your GP, then obviously they should still see you. And then you would say, oh, by the way, but I was waiting for this as well, and this has not happened. And then maybe, but it's all this workflow-based system that's what happens. And it's not unique to medical thing. You have it in all sorts of.
And then obviously, as Norma's just said, with a lot of GP surgeries, people book appointments and they don't turn up.
Well, there's that. Well, but then everybody else gets punished for that, isn't it?
And we've had a conversation about that before. Should people be charged for missing appointments? And I think we talked about that, I don't know, 2 years ago, something like that. You know, maybe that is something that they need to be looking at, because
Or they could get around it the benevolent way. Rather than say, well, there are no appointments, you could say, well, you could wait around for a standby. Those appointments do not have to be wasted, because there are people who will take them up. And I'm not saying that is definitely the most ideal, but the fact that they just don't offer anything and they like to bandy out these stats and this is how much it costs, when in actuality, they could have used it.
So Norma is a member of the GP's patient participation group, and it's an
nice.
So is that something we need to be joining so that we know what goes on and we can participate with that then? I don't know. I can't do up the road.
Well, it depends whether they offer it or not. I do know that I get offered to come into this. I get the text message every time, but it's always on the evening where I'm not available, where they have this various bits and pieces to do with the medical network in our area.
Ripple effect, Dee said, and it is a ripple effect, because one thing goes to another thing, which goes to another thing. You know, and it has
because
that
from
effect.
a system point of view, it's fine. It's the ripple is impacting the human being. In the actual process itself, really and truly, it worked until the human interfered and didn't do it, because you went out with your referral letter. There was an instruction in there which the people who got the letter did not read, but on their system, it's all closed up because it's done. It's waiting for it to come back to be opened again. So yeah, it's right. It's ripple effect, but it's you that has been impacted because you're the one who was waiting and waiting. Oh, I thought you were reading that.
So the announcements of the strikes, it was an official letter dated 27th of March, but the rumours would have been around, wouldn't it, already, saying that this is likely to happen.
And the other link that I put on there, it's from the government, and it's what the pay offer was to the resident doctors. So if anyone wants to read into it a little bit more, that was where I got the information from. That it was just then saying what they were offering and why it wasn't accepted.
So Dia said we should help ourselves more. Can't sit and expect NHS to do everything, which is true. I think our hands are tied with some things, but maybe there are other things that we could then do. I think the difficulty in that is that sometimes we're told that something is going to happen, so we then leave that because we expect it to happen because they've told us it's going to happen, and then it doesn't, and then by the time that then happens, that's when tempers then flare. I've been waiting for this. Where's my appointment? All of that business. The NHS. I mean, I don't like the words when they say the NHS is broken. It's not broken.
I don't think it's broken. I don't think it's broken beyond what the government wants it to be. There, I said it. I mean, because at the end of the day, they have money to give to their cronies with this contract and that contract. That money's come from somewhere. I know. I was determined that I won't go down that route there, but when I'm just listening to all the things that you're saying, and how do you say that word? When there's so many anomalies.
Yeah,
quite often the NHS, it's when they changed it all round and they're trying to act like a business, but you cannot act like a business when it comes to things that change with humans, where they look at everything on paper and it says we had X amount of people through the door.
Yeah.
And we coped with like so many operations or whatever. That doesn't equate to what actually you physically see in the building. That's so many people that they turn up and you don't know whether you actually are going to have your operation, because you don't know whether you're going to have a bed at the end of your operation, because they're having to fill in and out all the time.
Yeah.
But when you look at that on paper, it's, we've seen X amount of people. and it can't run it like a business, and it should not be managed by business people. Yeah, you needed some management in the NHS and in each individual, because it is not just hospitals now. It's like your group of hospitals. So we're now Bedfordshire hospitals. We're not the L&D in the Bedford. We are Bedfordshire hospitals.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do need some level of management on the top tier of the system to then say, oh, we've got X amount of money here or here or here. But it can't be run by someone like a management team because of the human aspect of what's then going on. Because you can't factor in anything onto a computer program that then says, we know we get more, unfortunately, like elderly deaths this time of the year, we get more of this at this time of the year. You can't put that into a computer. All the doctors, all the nurses, general public know, right, okay, cold snap, everyone's going to get a cold. If you've got chest infections or you're natural to getting chest infections, you're going to end up in hospital. So anyone that's got that sort of like those kind of problems are going to end up that way. And it just seems to be management are involved in a business that can't be run by pure numbers.
Okay, I'm going to bring to a close because we are nearly coming to the end. So just a couple of things. So Norma has said it's recommended by CQC that each GP surgery consult their patients. We are lucky. She's obviously lucky that their practice has a meeting each month. Some surgeries don't have one. So we need to have a look and see if ours does locally.
Well, we have got Health Watch Luton, so they would then know what's happening to all the individual doctors. So it could be someone that we could approach.
Yeah. And Nikkei, she has agreed with what you were saying about the government. And are we heading towards private healthcare? Please don't. I don't want to do that.
I think that's, but that is, unfortunately, I think is part of it, because at the end of the day, the bits that you would have thought would have had a positive impact on them privatizing, which would be this, like the janitorial services, the bit, the peripheral bits like the cafe, the team, and all of that malarkey, hasn't done anything. The only people who have suffered as that have been the patients.
Yeah.
So I do believe that the groundwork is there.
Okay. Perhaps someone with common sense should be on the leadership team.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Perhaps someone with common sense should be on the leadership team.
Indeed.
That's not me, because my common sense, it comes and goes. It fluctuates.
And they get paid a hell of a lot that you just then think, well, hang on a minute, you're not quite.
But then that's the argument, though. That's the argument. So they're those ones that most probably should not be right at the top there, because this is not a sweet shop. This is people's lives. They're getting paid loads of money, and that money needs to be going elsewhere.
Anything like that should just be a line that this is your earnings. If your business, whatever that happens to be, is producing well, then you get your bonuses.
Right. So we will most probably have to come back to this, because this is not the end. And if they don't get what they're asking for, then they're going to schedule
at the end of this week, won't we?
There'll be some more strikes. So yeah, who knows? So anybody who is watching on catch up, like Patricia, who else?
She might be watching live because it's half term, isn't it?
Oh, are you? No, surely she would have said. Are you watching?
Not always. The last time when I said it, when we saw her the other week, she said, "Nikki, I had to laugh because I was actually really watching."
Oh, Trisha, are you watching? And also Carmela is usually watching, but I know she had gone away, so maybe she's away. So it's a busy week for us, a very busy week. We have got Dee's Real Talk show tonight, which starts at 7:00. Don't miss it. There's some really fabulous guests on there today. And then on Thursday, we have also got our community Zoom, which starts at 7:00. The registration link is on our Facebook page. Literally
in the comments somewhere.
And it's in the comments.
I think it's towards the top of the comments before we did all of that doctor stuff.
All these people had these. It is right at the top, I think. Yes,
Yeah, I
right.
think so. Yeah,
go
I think
back.
I remember to put it in
and have a look. So we've got that on Thursday as well, and then we've also got. Have you got?
We've got a couple of bits and pieces going on because we're helping out. Oh, that didn't come up as a. Hang on.
That was Yvonne's.
Yeah, so that was Yvonne's thing, Caught and Alive. We're helping out with that, and going along the theatre theme. We've got our own special screening of the Milestone Streets Paved with Gold in September.
20th of September.
Yeah, so we've got the tickets going on for that. And then you may have seen the thing go through. We've got our Black Bookcase coming back. We're going to be in partnership with ReadAware, and that's in October, and we're at the Sixth Form College. I am sorting out the link for a form, so if you're an author, a bookseller, got your own business of doing anything really, and you're of African and Caribbean descent, you fill out the form and become a vendor at the day. So we are on the Sixth Form College. We're in their break room downstairs, and we get the little bit outside as well. I mean, it is October, but it has been quite a few, when we've done it there a couple of times, it has been quite nice weather. So we take over that whole area. So there's talks and all sorts of things going on. So yes, we're bringing that back this year. So that's then in October. But Dee's going to be talking a bit about
October, Shelley.
17th.
17th of October. So there's quite a few things going on, but you can find all of that information on our Facebook page. So go and have a look, and join Dee tonight for the Real Talk, and Thursday we have got our community Zoom and everything else that's going on. So see you next week at the same time. Eat your chocolate quick, because then that's done. Easter's finished. We're moving on. Easter's gone and done. We need to finish up, and we need feedback, Nikkei, about the Oreo egg. We need feedback.
Maybe I'll make some content around it.
I think you do need to make some content. I need to see some content, actually. Many of us do.
Content of the contents.
Content about the contents of the Oreo egg. Right. Oreo cream egg or Oreo egg?
It's Oreo egg, yeah.
It says, I'm sure it says cream egg on it, but I will make a note to include that on it. I will look at this. Or maybe I should make it. Yeah, that's right.
What's that?
What is that? Mine just says caramel egg.
Yeah, right, so it must be Oreo egg, not cream egg. Anyway, look at anybody who's watching, look out for the content, because she's going to post it on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube.
TikTok.
No, I don't have TikTok. Anyway, we'll see you next week. I don't need to get TikTok.